In today's video, I've got 3 mutes from RGC Mutes. What's up, Josh Rzepka here, and welcome to another Mute Monday. If you're new around here, Mute Monday is a series where I discuss and demonstrate different trumpet mutes. Today I'm really excited. I've got 3 mutes from RGC Mutes, and this is a small company. They are based in Valencia, Spain, and this video is not sponsored, but they did send me these mutes so that I could feature them in this video. So a very big thanks to RGC Mutes. Now, before I dive into the history and how these mutes are made and all that, let's just check these mutes out up close. And this first one right here, look at this. This is their standard straight mute, but with a brass bottom. A really, really nice mute. This is a pretty traditional straight mute, and you can see it is made really well. And you know, they make this mute in different metals. They make it with an aluminum bottom, with a brass bottom, with a copper bottom. But this is the one that they sent me, and I'm glad they sent me this one because usually I really dig those brass bottom straight mutes. So next up, I've got 2 wooden mutes, and you gotta see these. These are just so nice. This is the wooden straight mute, and check this out up close. This is just beautifully made. You can see this is an 8-sided mute, and it is really pretty light, and it's got just such great woodwork. And the craftsmanship on this is just outstanding. And this mute is made out of cherry wood. And if you look at the profile of this mute, it kind of is similar to some of those soft mutes, some of the other mutes that are out there, like the Trumcore lyric mute, or some other ones that are shaped like this. And it gives it a different character of sound than you would get from a traditional straight mute. So really excited to see how this plays and hear how it sounds. Now, rounding out the lineup for today's video, check out this adjustable wooden cup mute. This is just so cool. Check this out up close. You can see the craftsmanship is just beautiful, and there is this perimeter of cork on the bottom, and that keeps the cup from sliding off the bottom. And as far as the adjustability of this mute goes, check this out up close. It is fully adjustable, and they really fit this cup on this mute very well. And there are these strips here kind of going around the edge of, it's like a felt, and it's real nice and smooth, and it just allows that cup to be adjusted and move really nicely, but it stays in place. Now for today's video, I'm going to demonstrate this mute in 2 different ways. One of them is going to be in what I'm going to call the open position, and that is without closing it at all, just putting the mute into the bell. And then I'm going to do it in the closed position, where I adjust this cup and I make it pretty tight onto the bell, you know, just a little gap. And you're going to hear just how versatile this mute is and how much a variability in sound you can get just by adjusting the cup. In addition, all these mutes come with nice drawstring bags that really help keep them from getting banged up and scratched. Now, I had a chance to briefly speak to the brother of the creator of RGC Mutes, and that is Vicente Garrido. I sent him a list of questions, and he had them translated, and he answered them for me. And I just wanted to share some history and the development and how these mutes came to be. Now, RGC Mutes, they were created by Raul Garrido Ciscar, and he is a horn player, and he started off making mutes for horn, and this was around 1999 and 2000, and it wasn't until around 2005 that they started making mutes for trumpet and trombone and euphonium, all of the different brass instruments. Now, in the horn community, that is where they really started to become well known, and these mutes that are made out of wood with all these different facets, that was not really a thing back in 1999 when they started making these mutes. They were making these mutes out of cherry wood and ash, and then they started doing a combination of the two. Now for the trumpet, they only offer this cherry wood, but they kept that design influence from the horn mute, of that multifaceted mute, and this is what makes these really very unique. Now, RGC Mutes is a family business, and they were already artisans with wood, but it was their father's passion for music that really influenced the sons, and really culminated in them starting this mute brand. And since they've created this brand, these mutes have become popular across the world, and these are used in jazz bands, in orchestras, in every single type of musical situation. Now, they don't only make these 3 mutes for trumpet, they make a whole lot other trumpet mutes, but these are the 3 that I've got, so let's hear them. All right, so you've just heard all three of these mutes, and what did you think? Which one was your favorite? Did any of them surprise you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to know what you heard. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button. It really makes a big difference. Starting off with this brass bottom aluminum mute. What did you think about this? Now, for me, as expected, I dug this mute. You know, I love these brass bottom mutes. What I enjoy about that is the core to the sound, the weight to it, and the fullness. And this had such a nice quick articulation, full sound, nice core, low to high. And if you're playing in an ensemble, this is going to be a mute that's going to cut, and it's going to be a great section mute. This might be a little too much for some solo work, but that's why they've got this wooden mute here. Now, the playability of this mute, as I mentioned, the sound, the articulation, low to high, really very good. It's even, it's free blowing. This is a nice mute to play on. For me, I had to focus a little bit more on the intonation than I'm used to with certain mutes. It felt like there was some wiggle room. I did have some instances while I was playing where that intonation, it was getting away from me a little bit. Otherwise, the response, the sound, the articulation, this is a nice ensemble mute. Now, moving on to this wooden mute. As I mentioned, you know, maybe this is the perfect solo mute. Right off the bat, you could hear such a big difference, how much softer and delicate the sound was. It was a completely different tonal color. The articulation on this, it's actually like pretty nice and pretty quick, but it's not as fast as that metal mute. It's also not as pointed. And because of that, I wouldn't be using this in a big ensemble when I'm expected to project and, you know, cut through everything. But depending on the rep, depending on what ensemble you're playing in, you know, if you need to blend with the woodwinds, if you need to blend with the strings, this has got a nice sound. And of course, if you are playing a soft solo, if you're playing something real delicate and nice, this is going to be a great option. And as far as the playability is concerned, this to me, it felt really nice. It was even. It had a nice even sound and articulation from low to high. I thought the intonation on this was more secure than on the metal mute, so I really did enjoy playing this mute. So if you're a fan of the lyric mute or any of those other soft mutes, this is going to be a mute that is going to interest you as well. And finally, what did you think about this cup mute? Right, such a big difference between that open and closed position. This mute, it's got such a nice and unique warm sound to it. The articulation is not harsh. It's not too pointed, especially in that closed position. Actually, in the closed position, I found the articulation to feel pretty far away and to be, you know, a little diffused. This isn't a mute that I would use for a big band. This isn't a mute that I would use if I need to really cut, because the sound character, the articulation, this is something that you're really going to want to use for those solo pieces, for maybe chamber group. You know, if you need to play in an ensemble and you need to blend with the woodwinds, or you need to blend with the strings, if you're trying to blend with a cello or a clarinet, maybe this is the perfect mute for that. That's what's so great about this mute. It just has such a unique and nice warm sound to it. Now, the articulation, like I said, it's not too direct, it's not too pointed, and the feel of this mute, it is even from low to high. Now, I will say, as I got higher on this mute, once I got to a high C and above, I did feel like it had a little tendency to be a little flat. So something to be aware of. Now, this mute, I think it would also do pretty well for jazz gigs, especially if it's kind of in the middle, not in that closed position, not in the open position. You're going to get more of that articulation, you know, a little more definition. And I really dig what they did with this cup mute. It's got such a wide range that you can get from the tonal palette. All right, that is all three of these mutes. As I mentioned, these mutes are made in Spain, but they do have a distributor here in the United States, Houghton Horns. I will put a link below because otherwise they are a little challenging to find, and I don't make money off of this link. This is not a sponsored video. I'm just sharing it for those of you who are interested in getting these mutes. And again, a very big thank you to RGC Mutes for sending me these mutes so that I could make this video for you. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.